fact of the matter is, if you promote meme pathogens, which are the pretexts and axioms, the premises which make up the worldview of the anti-white narrative, which is what leads to the destruction of Western kind, white erasure, the harm and abuse of innocent members of Western kind, right? Then you are responsible, because you're the one using the ideas which make up the story which justifies the harm. Okay? So if you don't want to be anti-white and be responsible for the harm, you have to not use those words and ideas which make up the story which justifies the harm. Alright? And all anti-white meme pathogens are ideas and pretexts which make up the story, which is the anti-white narrative, which justifies the harm, which is white erasure. Okay, so again, anti-white meme pathogens are the ideas that make up the story of the anti-white narrative. And that story justifies, it says it's okay to harm innocent white people. Alright? So the only way to protect white people is to change the story that says it's okay to harm them. You've got to change the story to a story that says it's not okay to harm them. Then people can't justify harming Western kind. Okay? And how do we change the story? Well, we have to change the ideas and the concepts which make up the story. We can't use any ideas or concepts which are meme pathogens, which make up the negative story, the anti-white narrative, which justifies white erasure or harm of Western kind. You have to avoid all of these things. And it just so happens that one of these ideas, okay, one of these concepts which make up the story, which then justifies and makes it okay to harm innocent white people, one of those ideas is that white people or Western kind have enemies or an enemy. Okay? So if you use that idea, you are a part of the problem. You're helping the anti-whites harm Western kind. You're helping to build and give power to the story, which then says it's okay to harm innocent white people. So when innocent white people are harmed, you are responsible, because you used the words and the ideas which create the story which says it's okay for those people to be harmed. So you are directly responsible. So that means you have to, if you're white positive, if you don't want to be responsible, if you're not an abusive individual, you're not a monster, all right, a bigot who discriminates and abuses people on the basis of their race, well, that means you have to stop using the concept of enemies of the West or enemies of Western kind. What do you use instead? What do you replace it with? What's the cure for this sickness, this infectious idea? What's the medicine? A victimizer, an abuser. They abuse Western kind. They victimize Western kind. We are victims. We have been abused. There's no enemies, only abusers. Alright? Simple. That way you're not using that idea of an enemy of Western kind, which makes up the story, which is the anti-white narrative, which then justifies the harm of Western kind, the abuse of innocent white people. Okay? One simple change. You just don't use the idea, the concept of enemies of the West. Instead, you change that to abusers of the West, or victimizers of the West, molesters of the West. Because that's more true, that's more factual. And it isn't a part of that anti-white story which justifies harm against innocent white people. That's just a matter of fact, that's just how the world works, alright? So again, the only solution is you don't promote those ideas which make up the story, then say it's okay to harm innocent white people. Alright? Simple. Simple. So there's no excuse. Anyone who considers themselves to have any care about their nation, the West, the white race, whatsoever, if you have any empathy, sympathy whatsoever for Western kind, then you can't just go around promoting meme pathogens, right? Sorry, but no, if you keep promoting the things that are the problem, the one cause for all the problems and the harm of Western kind, those ideas, like an enemy of the West, that's the one thing that causes all of the harm. So you can't act like you care about Western kind and then still partake in and promote the one thing. There's only one thing we have to do. Only one fucking thing. But you keep going back and promoting that one problem, the one cause, the one issue, while pretending like you care. Nah, come on. So do the right thing, be a good person, don't be an anti-white fucking state. Take it easy.